that catastrophic parenting style when it comes to my son comes from a different place than Dawn's came from.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn's came from a fear of something happening to her son, right? Or her son not being prepared for the world, her son not being in positions to have access to the best opportunities, right? My catastrophic parenting style with my sons come from the harm that they could cause in the world.
That is different. It's very different.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to keep it 100. I don't want to raise no fuckboys. I don't want to raise fuckboys. I don't want to raise men that women have to manage. Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Ride. You're on the mothership inside the Black Mama Magic Room with the greatest podcast on earth,
G-Po.
I am one of your co-hosts, Crystal Tennille Irby, mother of 4.
I am Thea Moye, mother of 3.
And I am Keisha Killings, also mother of 4.
And I just want to give a shout out to Mara Brock Akil. Today we are going to be talking about Black Keisha,
Love a Keisha,
Black mamas, and forever. That was the realest line. Black Keisha. And the way that she said it was like
perfect. She nailed it.
She nailed it.
Her heart was so full in that moment. I felt her.
Yeah. But what I want to give a special shout out to, and what I really appreciated about the series, we're going to get into it in the mac and cheese, but I just want to give this shout out real quick, is the text messages were on the screen.
Love. That little technical piece was so helpful.
As someone who often has to pause the TV and walk up to the TV to read the text message on the phone, and myself and Q Baby have to take turns, I'd be like, okay, it's your turn to go see what the text message is saying. If we cannot find our glasses, and oftentimes we do have our glasses, we still may have to walk up to the TV. So
accessibility. We lifting up accessibility.
Thank you.
ADA compliance when it comes to our series watching experience. ADA. Think of others.
I know y'all say that we weren't the actual audience, but I feel like the little nuggets like that.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know it was for us too.
It's the truth in YA literature too. Like adults read a lot of YA literature. So it makes sense that they would consume this content as well.
I do read a lot of YA novels with Black girl protagonists. I am.
Think about like the Hunger Games.
Drawn to those.
Think about Divergent. All those series were not for us, but Twilight was not for adults. But
adults eat it up. Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
I am. I will say I am drawn to those books, but I just appreciated that little nugget that
that was a good one to pull out.
I just wanted to shout her out.
Thank you.
So, like we said, we are going to be talking about Forever, and this episode is just like any of our other episodes. So we're going to start out with our
reflective reading,
responsive reading. It took me a minute. You got it. You got it. We're going to start out with our responsive.
You were waiting
reading.
for a text to pop up on the screen.
See,
we're going to start out.
We are of the age where if you forget something, there's nothing you can do about it, but just sit there and kind of wait for it to come back. If it decides. And then we say, I know we all say this, if it's important, it'll come back to me.
But there you go. Not only of the age, but we are in that time period in our lives where, the perimenopause brain is kicking in. And so the brain fog is real, Sometimes you just wander off the focus.
Sometimes you walk in a room.
Sometimes you walk in a room, you're like, now why am I here? Why did I come in this room?
And then I see my mom do it, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Enough.
Okay. So we're going to start off with our responsive reading. Then we'll move into our church announcements, praise reports, and prayer list requests. Then we'll do the mac and cheese, where we're going to be talking about Forever. And we'll close out with our Black Mama Say.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to start with our responsive reading. Yeah, card number
15.
Okay.
15. Oh, multiple of 5. I see you, Ocean. For real.
Also, Remy was born on the 15th, and I was looking into his beautiful eyes.
Hey, Dog Few. Hey, Remy.
We can't wait to go see our Auntie Keisha. Keisha.
They're running
Y'all don't
want to
see Auntie Crystal?
No, they don't. I'm
sorry. We do, but Auntie Crystal, is a little tougher nut to crack.
She is. Gotta open up your heart.
Nairobi can come.
You don't want that.
Nairobi can come.
She's a licker. She's a happy licker. And she's very happy. She's also a peer. Oh. So you don't want those problems.
Well, maybe no dogs can come.
Maybe okay. Except the big dog you want sitting at your feet.
The big dog that I want to sit at my feet. And when I walk in the door, he comes to greet me at the door. Then he guides me to my spot on the couch that I have.
This is crazy, right? Do you hear this?
That's what she wants. Is it crazy? I don't think it's crazy.
Hi, Remy.
You have to get through the puppy phase to get to that dog. You have to train that.
You do.
You want him to come ready to sit at his feet?
I've trained a dog before.
We're talking not a cue. We're talking about a real. Just to clarify.
Look at you, bitch.
You know, I wasn't ready, but I didn't have to be because the Scorpio was on deck.
Hey,
I was ready.
Hey,
look at you, bitch.
Okay.
I mean, you said it with such confidence. Yeah.
I did it well. I've done well. I've done well, I must say. I have no fear.
Breaking dogs.
I have no fear when it comes to that. Okay, so card 15. This is card 15.
Who? Like that one. That's for me. Let's get it.
I'm improving my skills. Okay, so card 15 is fuck fear, an affirmation. Keisha wrote this card.
Did I?
We never know. We'd be like, that's not like one of us.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, she wrote this card. Dear Mama, fear is a liar, a low-down, dirty dog liar. It will have you thinking you have been forgotten or passed over or have missed your moment. Fear will tell you that being a mama stops you from being anything else. You know the truth. Truth is abiding deep within your bones and spilling out of your pores. Truth is bursting through in your dreams and being whispered by ancestors into your spirit. Fuck fear. He's been living here rent-free far too long. It's time for him to go. I see you put it in he. I do appreciate that.
I did gender fear. I did gender fear.
I did that. You did that. I like
fear
that. I like that.
Pronouns.
Fear has a pronoun. Fuck fear, an affirmation. So that is our Black Woman Say. Our responsive reading for this one. And you can get cards in your Black Mama Magic card deck, and the link for it is in the show notes wherever you're listening or watching on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube, don't just look at us, subscribe and like, and also share with one other person who you think can benefit from it. And if you hear something that resonates with you, drop it in the comments, put quotes around it so we can know that's what resonates with you, and we'll share it on our next episode. Our word from the ancestor mindfulness quote is Bell Hooks, the book Art on My Mind. It occurred to me that if one could make a people lose touch with their capacity to create, lose sight of their will and their power to make art, then the work of subjugation, of colonization is complete. Again, that's from Bell Hooks' Art on My Mind. And I chose that one after listening to a couple of interviews from Mara Brock Akil, where she talks about visually, she's very intentional about aesthetics. Like how the home looks. Like she wants it to look beautiful because she feels like we're worthy of that and we should show that in our creativity. Not necessarily like expensive, but beautiful. And that's really what I saw in this episode. Just I
remember us talking about that with Love Is too. We talked about that. That was something that we noticed.
Yeah.
No matter which house, every home, every living space was comfortable and inviting and home. It was home.
Yeah. And the city was beautiful. The city was beautiful. So I thought that fit. So we want to roll into our church announcements, praise reports, and prayer list requests.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I don't really have many announcements. Yeah, I'm doing workshops with, I think it's Ohio Family. I'm missing a letter. network, but they're open to the public. They're happening once a month, and we're doing like joy sessions. So the first one is Amplifying Joy, an intro to the 4 pillars of joy. And I can provide the QR code and the link to the Eventbrite and all that. And so there'll be more about that coming up soon. I think those are the main things.
Keisha has an announcement. Keisha's working again. Keisha's working.
Local government agencies are not sending their people to the conference as they had in past years due to the content. Like me, people like me talking. So come see your girl.
Keisha is controversial.
Oh, I'm controversial. I'm.
Mama, you made it.
Gonna be on a watch list somewhere. I'm on a list. But anyway.
You made it. Yes. You did. You was avoiding that list. But look at
I was avoiding the list, but here I am.
Look at
God. Will he do it? Will he won't?
So, due to content like my own.
Keisha is controversial.
You know, yeah.
It's always the sleeper. It's always
I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to give a little shout out to Black Girl Vitamins.
Oh.
I know they're not a sponsor, but I just want to say that vitamins made for Black women by Black women. You can be. And take this clip, Crystal. I have been using it for like about 2 months. And I do see and feel a difference. I was one of the people who was in denial. Like, I was a Black person who didn't use sunscreen for a long time because I thought I was. My daughter corrected
you remember
that.
I used to tell you when you were in the garden, I was like, are you using sunscreen? And you're like,
I was like, no. I'm not. I do now, but also I was just like raw dog in the world with no vitamins.
Let
like
me say, when Black don't crack goes wrong.
When Black don't crack goes, my Black could have cracked. My Black, because the sun we dealing with right now with this pollution is just different. So sunscreen,
it's the white supremacist sun.
It's the white supremacist goddamn sun, y'all. It is, and we're not eating
the one over.
We don't have the same foods. Like, it's a lot of things that make it different. It's not that Black don't crack, because it don't, but it's that white supremacist sun and food that we eat that, makes it a little different. But also, I was out here raw dogging life with no vitamins.
And also your lineage. You have to look at your lineage when it comes to that Black don't crack.
Yeah, because there may have been a little white that cracked
Too much colonizer.
There might have been a little white that cracked it. But I was out here and I say this for people who are still... Of course. Cracks everything.
It does.
It just came to me. It just came to me. Can't say the name of the podcast.
We can't say the name.
Y'all know.
It just came to me.
Are
you biracial? It just came to me.
We'll put that clip in our show notes. No, we won't, because we cannot promote
it.
We cannot.
If you know, you know. And if you know, don't say nothing.
It's a guilty pleasure.
If you know, you know. And if you know, don't say nothing. But
it's like, I want to say that I was
out here... I said that thinking about and so I want to say that I was out here raw dogging the world.
She was.
I wasn't taking out a single vitamin or supplement.
She wasn't eating enough protein.
Protein was going down, magnesium was going down, but I got on my game, and I've been on my protein game and on my magnesium game and on my vitamin game, my CMOS game, all the things, and it's making a big difference. So please don't be out here raw dogging. We got to live like we gonna live through this presidency.
Oh, we got to live like we gonna live through it.
We got to plan for what the after. You know what I'm saying? We can't just be like in our winter bodies forever. We gotta. Spring must come.
I like
summer
that.
must come.
You're right. Let me get together.
If you're not and you're thinking about it, I like it. If they have them in gummies, if you don't want to feel like you're like 70 years old taking 1,000,000 pills, you can do the gummies. And it's been a good experience.
I was thinking about ordering some. I was checking out some of their perimenopausal supplements and things like that. So I'm thinking about ordering some. So that's all I have. Anything else?
I think that's it. Let's hit it.
So that's all for our praise reports, prayer list requests, and church announcements. You can check our website for all the details. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram and sign up for our newsletter, because y'all know this podcast only comes out twice a month. So the best way for you to keep up with what's going on is to sign up for our newsletter. I'm proud to say I've been pretty consistent. It's been going out weekly.
You're doing great, friend. You're doing great.
You've been so good.
I'm really, really excited about that. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't just and if you're listening, don't just listen. Subscribe, And like I said before, if you hear something that resonates, drop it in the comments so that we can know. Okay, so we're going to roll into this mac and cheese and talk about Black Keisha, Black
I
Mamas.
already feel my eyes watering. I feel a kind of way.
Forever.
Black Keisha, Black Mamas.
Thea just finished it last night, y'all.
Oh,
okay.
I'm fresh.
She's fresh. She's fresh.
Wait, Krista, you call it Black Keisha's Black Mamas and what?
That's a great name.
And that's it. Black Keisha's Black Mamas and Forever.
Forever,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Forever.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So
I love that.
And we're back with our mac and cheese. We also call that our little lipstick break where we have to go and refresh the lipstick. So if you're watching on YouTube and you like, oh, them lips is popping again, that's why.
Yeah, and the screens are cleaner.
Screens are clean. So yeah. Okay, so let's get into this. We're talking about Forever, which is on Netflix, created by Mara Brock Akil, who is also the creator of Girlfriends, The Game. She also wrote Sparkle, Love Is. Am I missing anything? And Being Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Being Mary Jane, yeah. So she's the creator of all those shows. So we're going to start off with the description of the series. And then I'm just going to read a couple of quotes by her because I think that it's important for the content to have some context around the conversation, because we're going to be speaking about this in terms of Black motherhood and talking about the Black mothers on the show. Of course, we'll talk about the teen love story. We can't help but talk about teen love story. But mostly we want to have a conversation around the Black motherhood that's shown in this series. And I think that it always helps. I always want to uplift and honor the artist, the creative's intention, and add that context to our conversation. So, description. Forever, a Netflix series inspired by Judy Blume's novel of the same title, tells the story of Keisha and Justin. Keisha and Justin weren't in Judy Blume's novel. They had other names. They were white. Two Black teens exploring their first love and identities in Los Angeles. They navigate romance, awkward moments, and the pressure of high school and college applications as they fall in love. The series explores the challenges and joys of first love, including intimacy, identity, and the impact of their relationship on their future. And I never read Forever. I thought I had read every Judy Blume book there was. And I was reading that it had been banned because of teen sex and birth control and all those things. But Keisha, you were saying that it's like one of...
From 90 to 99, it was the 7th most banned book by the American Library Association. So many people, like Utah still has it banned. Like you just can't find the book.
I'm sure it was banned in South Carolina. And I guess 90 would have been like the age that I would have, been reading it, but I had never heard of it. I just want to read this quote to kind of give some context, 2 quotes to kind of give some context to our conversation. First, Mara Brock Akil said in an interview, I sort of earned the right to put my pen where I would love to put my pen, and I would love to make room for young people, period. But certainly for Black young men and women, their rite of passage of love. They deserve their rite of passage of love. And I never thought of love as a rite of passage, like your first love experience as a rite of passage. So I thought that was beautiful.
I love that that's how she framed that, though.
Yeah,
that should be a question we should ask about each other's first love.
That's how she framed it.
Ooh, look at Keisha, let me think about that.
She's like, which one was that?
Yes, okay. Keisha, you can just say we're talking about Black motherhood. You don't have to share no details if you don't want to. If we understand. This is another quote from Akil. I think one thing that writing does for me is allow me to have a little bit of therapy, she said. She pointed to 2018, the start of Keisha and Justin's senior year, when Black parents like her were trying to navigate very real fears in the wake of Sandra Bland's death and Trayvon Martin's murder, and screaming in a vacuum only to each other. There was a shift that Black families were starting to realize. Where is the safest place for our children, Akil recalled. You believe that to put your children in private white institutions is the best scenario for their future. And you move to the top of the hill. Is it safer up there? she came to a bleak but familiar conclusion. You start to realize, especially during that era, that your privilege or your economic status is not going to save you, she continued. Your degree is not going to save you. What might? Maybe Keisha's choice of a school is the answer. A shift also was happening where Black families were like, wait a minute, maybe my child is better at an HBCU, Akil said. Looking at what unfolds in the series, it could go a number of ways. It could look like Justin, a young Black man and basketball star player, struggling to determine who he is, what it is he wants, and how to express that to loved ones who want the best for him. I just wanted to give some context to that, where she was pulling from when she was creating and writing this.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt some of the things that she was saying in terms of putting my kids in white institutions. I've always just totally been against that. And the saying in my house is, you can go to college anywhere you want to go. You can go anywhere you want to go. Make your choice. But I'm only paying out of pocket for an HBCU. Till we get some reparations up in this piece.
I do remember big conversations around shifting towards HBCUs as like, the go-to as well.
And I want to say, I don't think that's exclusive to Los Angeles.
No, not at all.
I also want to say, I don't think that that's exclusive to that socioeconomic class.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have family friends who have said to us, I'm not sending my child to an HBCU. You won't get as good as an education.
Sure.
And, or I'm not sending them to an HBCU. That name doesn't look as good to employers. Right? And so I think that I was honestly very shocked to hear, like, I guess, again, maybe we're in a bubble. I don't know. But like that it took 2018 for Black people to shift. Like, I could see it taking that for white people to shift. But I was very surprised that I don't think I even noticed the shift. But looking at the stats, there has been a major increase in the people applying to HBCUs since that time. But
that was also the Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown,
yeah, so much was happening.
Eric Garner, like that was Black Lives Matter. So I think parents were thinking more about that. Made sense too.
I guess I was just, I mean, I know that mindset exists, right? Like proximity to whiteness and Black people achieving the American dream. I know that exists. It exists within my family. But I guess I was just surprised that in terms of HBCUs, I was surprised that so many people thought about it like that until that time. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't surprise you all?
I remember I wasn't discouraged from looking at HBCUs at all. I think the biggest issue with HBCUs when we were applying was financial aid.
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest. I think if more of us had money, so that's where the class piece does come in, because the kind of the mythology that we heard was like you need to have your own out of pocket money if you're trying to go to an HBCU.
That's not true.
That there's not going to be a lot of funding for you,
and
that so. The idea was like you had to apply to these other schools if you wanted to get aid. That aid was not available. That was a lot of the mythology that I came up with. And so it was like, oh, my parents can't pay out of pocket for college. And so that's what kind of discouraged me from even thinking about an HBCU.
Wow, Thea,
that's interesting.
Now, I will say, how shall I put this?
The money be funny sometimes.
The money be funny.
Nikisha,
the systems be funny.
Nikisha, let me ask you, is the money funny or is the administrative piece?
Right of the
it's an administrative piece. And I know somebody this year whose child left FAMU to go to Florida State because
It's the administrative.
The money's funny.
I'm not going front. I'm not going front. I'm not going front.
Administrative.
The money be there, but the money management.
The money management.
Get into it. Rudimentary process is still. You got to go see Miss So and So and get her papers.
Yeah.
Wet signature instead of just everything being electronic.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah. It's still.
I went to Florida State. I had a best friend who went to FAMU, and we lived together. I got my refund check 2 weeks after classes started. You couldn't after the drop period.
She got
over.
hers when she graduated.
She got hers at the end of the semester. So
the struggle period was hard and long.
So I will say that, but I'll say I've never heard like that piece of it because my whole family went to HBCUs except me. So were you surprised by that shift, Keisha?
Yes. Well, I didn't really notice that type of shift. I didn't have children going to college in that time frame, right? So I was pretty far removed from whatever the mindset was around college at that time. But certainly as a nation, we were all experiencing the racial of people. So I can see how that may have heightened it. For me, I would have thought that any sort of hesitation to go to an HBCU would have been the same as it was when I went many, many moons ago. It's a party school. You're not going to learn. You're about to get...
You do have to be focused.
Do you know so-and-so daughter went and came right back home or came home with a baby or what? You know what I mean? All the things. And so that was the why we were discouraged, back in the 90s. And so that's what I would have thought would have been, the issue that was raised in the mid-teens. But yeah, I can see though, if the country was in the space because we were in the space that we were in, I could see how that may have been the most recent, I guess, shift toward why HBCUs. Because there's been waves of it. Yeah.
That's really interesting about the party piece because at the time that we went to Florida State was the number one party school in the nation.
But you know.
This one.
But
the number one.
But fam, yeah.
And it was a party, I must say. It was a party.
It's a good time.
It was a good time. It was a good time. So yeah, so I was really, I was just surprised sort of by that sentiment. But I think that also speaks to the bubble that I kind of live in, not even in the people that I'm in contact with. Because like once I started talking to family members, I was like, oh, okay, this is like a mindset. But also the bubble I live in my mind and the mentality that I project to my kids, around that. So let's talk about Black mamas in this series. So who did you see yourself reflected in? Did you see yourself reflected? It was tough. It was a tough one. I also want to note that Justin is an Aries.
He is an Aries.
And Keisha is a Scorpio. I just want to put a little pin in that.
I don't see the relevance of that.
I don't see the relevance in that.
Of any of that. What were their mamas?
What were they?
Well, they had to raise. They had to raise an Aries, had to raise a Scorpio, right? And I'm an Aries. I felt...
Keisha's a Scorpio.
I felt good about the representation of Aries.
Okay.
I felt good. Keisha
was...
that quick sting in the beginning was... She had them quick stings in the beginning. She had to like put that tail away at a certain point. Because in the beginning, it was like that nigga couldn't do nothing. And she blocked with a quickness.
I can't endorse every decision that Keisha made. I cannot. But I can understand it, given her age and maturity level. I can understand the decisions.
You felt like
it
had nothing to do with her sign.
Scorpio-ness? No. Mostly. To answer your question, I saw myself in both Dawn and Shelley.
Let's get a close-up of Thea's face on this. Can we just get a close-up? Just put Thea on screen. Just put Thea on screen for her reaction.
Because I'm like, I've known Keisha a while now, and I'm like...
I don't endorse everything Keisha did. I'm just saying she was given her age.
I'm not saying you endorse it. I'm saying you don't
here's
attribute...
what I'm thinking.
I'm just saying you don't attribute anything to it. To her being a Scorpio.
Time travel to high school / Florida State Keisha. do I feel, wait, let me do it. Hold on, it just hit me. Hold on, just hit me.
It's coming to me.
Do I suspect, do I intuit that I would see something similar to what we saw in Keisha, in Keisha at that age?
You're asking too many questions. That's not even what the topic of this is about.
Like,
That's not either.
This is the leap. This is the leap I'd have to make. It'll go from it'll go
I don't think Mara was really trying to, build around their zodiac. I don't think that was
maybe not.
intention.
But she wasn't.
Anyway.
Get another close-up of do it again, Phil, so we get a close-up. Do it again. Okay, just want to get that close-up. Just want to get that reaction. Okay, go ahead. Keisha. Go ahead,
Keisha. We're just going to make a distinction.
I can see myself in both Dawn and Shelley, and maybe even a little bit in the cousins throughout the movie. The cousins was funny. Why y'all make that face? The cousins?
No, not you.
I don't even know their names.
I'm still thinking about which mama I saw myself in.
Yeah, I was mostly Dawn, and being fear-driven, overbearing, just trying to protect.
Catastrophic parenting style.
Catastrophic, like, hey, man.
Thank you, therapist. Thank you.
No, that's what she says in the show.
That's what she said it was.
I know what she said, but me and Keisha were probably trying to avoid that language.
I mean, here
I'm
we
just
go.
trying to bring what Mara brought to the table. I thought that we was... Wait, let me go back. Get the close-up. Aries, let me focus. I was focusing on the wrong side. Sorry, Keisha. Let me go back.
There it is.
We won't have that close-up.
Trying to just, prepare the children for, don't do that because XYZ is lurking outside the door. You know what I mean? Don't be careful. To the point where she could have really been a hindrance to his progress, to his maturity, were it not for his dad. So their balance was really
their balance was
powerful.
Essential for that boy.
Essential
for that boy.
Yeah, maybe that won't be the case for Jaden, but because of Justin, because he is who he is, Wood needed that. Whatever his dad's name was needed to be there. Be there. Yeah,
100%.
She was.
I didn't see myself in Dawn. I didn't have a catastrophic style, but I did see elements of myself in, what was the other mother's name?
Shelley,
because I often felt like a single parent at times, and like that pressure and not wanting your kids to know you're under that pressure. Like when they cuddled in the bed, like those, like their closeness, like they're like, my girls and I are really close, but I also understood that like pressure and just hoping you're not unintentionally passing on that pressure. Like I remember Crystal was pointed out to me like, you're always telling these kids how much it costs. And I'm like, am I? Like I didn't realize I was doing that, but it was like I was the only one holding how much stuff costs. Like I was the only one holding what it took to do that. So I was the only one who could value it and take care of it a certain kind of way. And balancing that with motherhood is really, really tough, And
I think I think also, Thea, that is a Black mama thing too, though. Like Black mamas will be like, that costs da-da-da-da-da. I'll never forget the episode of The Cosby Show where Sandra told her parents she wasn't going to law school. And Claire, down to the penny, quoted.
She did. She did. How much that
education
you owe me.
cost.
You owe me. Yes.
Yeah. My mom is a little different in her approach to money. So I didn't see that in my household when it came to my mom, but I definitely saw that, in other Black mamas in my family, that I knew. They definitely quoted costs to their children.
Yeah. And I know that can shape what your children come to you with or how they come to you for what they need, because they don't want to be viewed as a burden or, to take, more on. So I think Shelley was more relatable to me.
For me, I saw myself in Shelley when it came to my relationship with my daughter. And I realized I'm the only one on this podcast who has, sons and daughters. But
which we need to get into, because the part about raising sons is very...
Yeah. So for me, I saw myself in Shelley, played by Zosha Rockamore. And when it comes to my relationship with my daughter, the closeness, the cuddling, how I interacted with my daughter, the relationship, the intimacy that I built with my daughter was very, very different than the relationship that I have with my sons. And doing your best to try to create this atmosphere of open communication and honesty and being very protective of your daughter, right? So I saw that. And I saw myself in Dawn when it came to the catastrophic parenting style. But that catastrophic parenting style, when it comes to my son, comes from a different place than Dawn's came from. Dawn's came from a fear of something happening to her son, right? Or her son not being prepared for the world, her son not being in positions to have access to the best opportunities, right? My catastrophic parenting style with my sons come from the harm that they could cause in the world.
That is different. It's very different.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to keep it 100. I don't want to raise no fuckboys. I don't want to raise fuckboys. I don't want to raise men that women have to manage. I want my sons to be clear about consent. I want my sons to be clear about toxic masculinity. And so I do have this fear of them doing some harm, like what Christian did. Like, when he explained, it was dumb.
Christian.
Said,
where were his
white
parents?
Friend was going on about how white girls get better.
Christian parents.
Thea is giving the Egyptian shade. Her whole head is turned to the side.
She wouldn't even look directly at us on this.
I can't even. Where were his parents?
And no remorse, really.
Oh, I think he had remorse.
Not enough.
I think he was sorry that Keisha was mad.
Not enough.
That's
not enough.
Oh, wow. Ooh, tough room. Woo.
Yeah, tough room. Not enough. Not enough. Like, you should have came out and like protected and defended and said, this, I was the one. I did this, and this was a violation of her rights, and y'all should be coming for me. You should have took the heat. Said you still on the court shooting and shit. Yeah, I was not.
You got real LA on that. You got real that. You got real LA on that.
Christian. I was not.
I'm with you there. I'm with you when you're right.
Okay. I just want to go on record and say I'm not Team Christian.
I mean, there is no Team Christian. I'm sure there is no Team Christian.
Way.
But my point is, like, yeah, Christian.
Okay,
it's unresolved.
I
But you're right to not want your kid to be a Christian.
Right.
I mean Christian the person. Sorry, y'all. There's Christians on the pot. Christian the person.
Right. That's where my catastrophic parenting style comes from, is in an effort to prevent them from doing harm. Because what I realized in being a womanist, raising Black boys, is that it feels like it's me against the world. Like, I'm trying to instill these things in them, but there's so much messaging, right?
Yeah.
With the son, it's like they see themselves in the people who are giving these messages, right? Whereas with a girl, it's like they don't always see themselves in the people who are giving these messages. And so it's a little bit easier to kind of distance and see the disconnect. Whereas with boys, like, some of these messages
it's more systemic. It feels more like natural.
Right. And some of these messages are coming from people in my family.
Yeah.
That's where my catastrophic parenting style comes around. And it was really interesting to kind of dissect that, because I'm like, yes, police, brutality,
it's their maleness that you're like focused on that can be so harmful, and she's like focused on his
blackness.
His
exactly.
Blackness.
That's it. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which is important, because if not, you raise Black men who don't think they can cause harm, who see themselves as only the victims of these systems of oppression, but not also as perpetuators of that as well, which is how you get your Christians.
Yeah.
Yes. Dan. Yes.
And I think there's some self-awareness around that occurs later in the series for Justin. Not that he didn't have it, but I think he came into that even more fully near the end of the series of the impact that he could have and his decisions could have on another person's life. I thought that was really
you like to pull out and pull
the growth. Not like that, but like following her and what that could do to her and impede on her dream and her vision of her experience at Howard and all that. Who, if anybody in the movie, do you think could resonate with you as far as how you were mothered? And then how did you
also,
and then
I would like to just
that?
touch on these two dads for a moment. I know that's
we
not
will
our
talk
focus,
about the
but
men. We will. They could have left Keisha's dad out altogether.
Before we go to that, I don't know if I have I'm still healing. I'm still healing. I think we should talk about it because maybe we can talk about why I'm still healing and what that scene did to me.
What that means.
We talk about it though. We talk about it. But I was definitely mothered like Shelley. That was 1000% my mother, minus the pregnancy scare thing. She talked about not getting pregnant. So
but she even worked nights like Shelley. Your mom did.
My mom worked nights too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Shelley was. But my mom was very frank about sex. But she also, I understood that it was supposed to be pleasurable. And I understood that it was normal for me to want to have sex as a teenager. She talked about the responsibility of the choice, but she normalized like having the urge, having the curiosity, because she would say like, you think you're not going to do anything, and then he may touch you in a certain place, and you ain't never felt like this. Are her exact words.
That's like Wood when he made her do the cucumber in the dark.
Yeah, she was like, he may touch you in a certain place, and you may get a feeling you ain't never had before, and then you want some more of it. Like this is exactly the word for word conversation. My mom was having this. She's like, then you just want more. You want more of that feeling, and then you just get more and more curious. Your body start doing things. Your little kitty cat gets wet.
Everything start happening.
And I will never forget, she said, when it gets wet, it just begins to call for it. And you haven't been there, but I want you to be prepared.
Yeah.
Wow.
Word for word. So I understood.
Pause for the call. And just, wait a minute. I can't just roll through it. I
was going to let it ride. I was just going to let it go.
You got to give it, when the animeism drops, you got to let it drop. You got to give it the space. Sometimes it calls.
Sometimes it calls.
Wow.
So she made it, she let me know.
And you must answer.
And her thing is, you might can't help yourself.
Focus.
You will answer.
Might can't help yourself. And so...
You will answer.
So I understood...
I can't focus, Keisha. I can't.
This episode...
It's Crystal's fault. I didn't ask for this.
So... I understood that it was normal for me to have those feelings. I understood that I could get pregnant and what that meant. And I understood that it was supposed to be pleasurable. Now, I want to say, my mom grew into Shelley.
Oh.
My siblings did not have the same mom that I had. She had my older sister 2 months after she graduated high school. A month after she graduated high school. She had me when she was 26. She was a completely different person. She ended up marrying my father. I was raised in a totally different way. Then she got divorced from my father. She went from Dawn to Shelley. My sister had very much of a Dawn mother. And she had the experience of Shelley of don't get pregnant. No matter what you do, don't get pregnant. And so I just want to clock that because I think the reason we see these different moms is to show the range. And what I want to say is you can grow. I think sometimes we're like, well, this is the type of mother I am. If motherhood is a journey, you get to grow, you get to change, you get to evolve, you get to shift with, what you learn and what you know. And there was also this feeling of, especially after my mom left my dad, it was us against the world. My mom was like, it's just us. It's just us. And so my sister who's 2 years older than me.
We had that too there.
Yeah, we felt
we definitely went through that phase.
We felt the responsibility of, we can't get this wrong. Like we're in this fight together. And so I have to do my part. I have to get my part right, and I did feel this feeling of my mom works 12-hour shifts so that I can do all these other things. I don't want to let her down. I don't want to get in her way. I want her to be proud of me.
I want her to know I don't take it for granted.
I want her to know I don't take it for granted. And she never said those things, but I could see it though.
I think with mine, there weren't Dawn elements, but there were definitely Shelley elements. But that there were just elements like the closeness. We're very close. My mom, my sister, we're very close, and some of that was what I do identify with Shelley and Keisha is going through the fire together. You know, like going through hard things together, which I think is what surprised Shelley about why you wouldn't bring me into this hard thing. This is what we do. We go through hard things together. And I think it made her feel like, what did I do to make that this hard thing you didn't, bring to me? I didn't feel pressure from my mom. I did feel, because of what my mom was navigating with my dad and then separating and still like recovering from, I felt like we mothered each other at times. There were times, and I see that it's sometimes in my relationship with my girls who also watch me go through hard things. It's like, there are times when they mother me and there are times when I have to let them mother me. Nurturing is definitely a huge quality in motherhood in my family. Like from my great-grandmother to my grandmother. Like my mother, when she describes growing up on this land with her mother and her grandmother and her great-grandmother and her great-aunts and her aunts. Like, as far as you can see, there's Black women that own these plots of land. Like, as far as you can run, there's a Black woman that you're related to. But all she remembers is this constant, like, love, this constant nurturing. And I think nurturing is a huge part of our dynamic and our relationship. I don't know if it's also how we protect, if it's also, but everything is wrapped up in that. Everything comes out that way. When I think about it, like with Keisha and Shelley, I think protection was a big theme for them. Protecting each other from hard things. With us, it was like nurturing each other through like nursing each other through hard things, like feeding each other, caring for each other, rubbing each other's hair and praying for each other and through hard things. But I recognize that the most with Shelley and my kids. I actually enjoy allowing my children to mother me, not in a parentified way, but in like Taya loves to cook me things, bake me things, bring me my favorite candles. She loves to nurture. She loves to do that to her sister. I see that in her, And then Talani is like advice giver and like counsel. And, looking at this, I can see that mostly reflected in Shelley. And I know both of these women were trying to be nurtured, but it feels like at some point circumstances made it hard to stand in nurturing. Both of them were coming from protection. Both of these mothers were coming from a place of like protection.
Oh, sure.
That I think may have even at times superseded nurturing.
I do want to say, like, my mom didn't put that pressure on me to not disappoint her. Like, I so identified with Keisha not wanting to disappoint her mom, and each child responds to that differently. And that was my response. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not something that my mom put on me. It was just my response to the situation. And for Keisha, I think she took it on by herself because she saw her mom taking things on by herself. So she's unconsciously mimicking her mom's behavior. That's what she's showing. That's what Shelley is showing her. So that's what she's witnessing from her mom. My mom figures things out on her own. My mom gets through it on her own. Even though there's this whole village that her mom depends on, it's just her mom sitting at that table trying to figure out those bills.
with that red pen.
Right. And one of the scenes that really resonated with me was when her mom came home at night, because my mom worked at night. She worked 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. And I would remember waiting up for my mom, and she would cook breakfast sometimes, and we would have breakfast at like 3:30 in the morning. Or I would set my alarm clock for like 2:30 or 3 o'clock so I could be up when she would come home. And I remember one night she came home, and I just fell on her shoulders into her arms crying because my boyfriend had broken up with me. So there were all these moments that were happening when I was like, oh, that was... she was definitely the way... Shelley was definitely closer to the way that I was mothered.
So for me, I was mothered the way that Shelley mothered, without the connection and nurturing and closeness.
Without the cuddles,
Remove that completely, yeah.
She said take the cuddles out.
Not nary a cuddle.
So what does that... Because that was such a big part of it. So what does that... I'm trying to think of the other...
It leaves the fear. It leaves fear.
Shelley, I don't think Shelley exhibited a lot of fear of getting pregnant, but she, due to circumstances, left Keisha at home alone all the time. Yeah. Keisha would come and go, and there wasn't a lot of fear around what would happen to her other than getting pregnant. And that probably was kind of where I rested to in terms of our relationship.
Got it.
On my own, though, I did take on not wanting to, both being very protective of my mother and not wanting her to be hurt or get hurt. Circumstantially, that's kind of how I showed up as a kid. The thing that resonated the most with me in my parenting experience, both as a parent and as a child, was when Keisha told Shelley what happened ultimately, and Shelley had nothing to say.
Yeah.
She had a lot to say. She had a lot to say.
Yeah.
But she said nothing.
Yeah. That was a hard moment for me. That was a hard moment for me. That is
what would have happened to me, and it is probably how I would show up for my kids in a moment of, because I don't want to, because if I say what, I'll be back. And so yes,
that was hard. Like it would like that. I think that moment, maybe because of how I'm oriented, and how I'm oriented with like the work I've done and the kids I've worked with and all the stuff. My parenting has been influenced by the fact that I worked with children in the system. Crystal has to remind me, like, a lot of parents would have responded like that. Like, would have just not, Dawn did. Dawn left the table when, like, they would have left. Dawn left the table when he said, I don't want to go to Northwestern. Dawn left the table. They would have felt like that's the best, safest option for me to do right now. Yeah. I think that was hard for me because I know, as a person who's counseled, those kids, that moment was an essential moment to show up a certain kind of way I know that wouldn't be that wouldn't be the natural, you do the best you can in that moment. You know what I mean?
I think,
I
think she did show up. She just didn't show up right there. But
no, I'm not saying she didn't show up at all. But I'm saying that in that moment that the kid is sharing this thing and they're terrified, that walking away without any words is really could be very damaging if they didn't return to repair it.
If the repair wasn't done.
Yeah. Right. If they didn't do the repair. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I think I would have had a different response to Shelley. But I think in that moment, because I agree with Keisha, I probably would have walked away too, even now. Because in that moment, and it is ego-driven, I will admit that, because you're thinking, I know you know better. I know you know better.
I taught you better,
I know I taught you better. And I was up at this school screaming in these white people's face. And the other part of it is Shelley knew something was off. She saw that her daughter was depressed. She asked her daughter over and over. And she got the information that she got. So it was like, what else was Shelley supposed to do if that's the information that she was being given and she knows that something's off? And so I think, again, I know that it's ego, but I think that's where I think it would have been hard for my mind not to go there.
Shut down. Yeah.
Not to shut down. And it actually took, similar to you, Thea, it actually took me working with teens at the Urban League to realize or not even before that, going to family therapy. And our therapist said, teenagers are all gas, no brakes. They see the stop signs. They see the red lights. But they don't have no brakes.
Yeah.
They don't have any brakes. When I got certified in teaching teens reproductive health, and they did like the brain stuff, and they were like, your brain doesn't finish developing until you're 25. That's if you have no trauma in your life. You have no trauma in your life. Your brain will be fully developed at 25. And I was like, but you have to have access to that information to kind of be able to.
But, and that's I want to say I had not that moment, but I had moments in the peripheral of the moment that Shelley had.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I've experienced moments like that as a parent.
Oh yeah. I mean,
like
haven't we all? I've done.
No, well, I mean, around your child's, body, sexuality, around like the dangers of that, especially with internet and things of that nature. And I didn't respond that way. I didn't respond because I think their fear is what prevented me from responding that way. When I saw how afraid and ashamed, the first thing that we had to do was like, what do we have to do for you to feel safe with this circumstance? You know what I mean? Like, what do we have to do to protect you? And then we had the conversation about, why, even if I wanted to say Christian was being a dumb boy, the fact that he did nothing afterwards to take that off of her and continued moving forward with his life is what makes it a bit predatory for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes it, it's like, her family well enough to know their circumstances and her situation, and her mother's in this position.
Her being protective of him would have sent me. That would have, as a mom, that would have sent.
Well, that did send her mom.
That did
send her mom. That sent Shelley.
Shelley said somebody got to pay.
Shelley said somebody got to pay. And you can't be the only one. You don't remember her saying that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Shelley said somebody got to pay.
So for the record, I don't know if I would have physically just went to work and left her holding that. I'm not actually a physical leaver of the situation. I would have stayed, but just...
You would have had to. I need to. It requires...
What? On all the reasons Crystal said, for all the reasons Crystal said. I think handling Justin is different. The way that Dawn handled Justin a few times, she needed to shut up. And she didn't. Yeah, she did. Even just her curiosity about his music, and she was like, "So it's not."
She couldn't
so
just
you
let him have it. Goddamn, Dawn.
I don't relate to that, Dawn. But
I don't
it was so
that.
painful to watch.
It was painful.
It was so painful to watch.
Because you were watching her. But that's what made me wonder if she wasn't a little bit like, her personality is a little rough.
You said, a little touch
her
of tism.
personality is a little bit abrasive. Now the husband softens it a bit, but generally, and her brother is also like that. So I wonder what their mama was like. Her brother,
you can't play. I was like, what is happening right now?
Her brother,
you're not a baller.
Much. Like, I wouldn't have been around that uncle at all.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that I really loved about the mothers, and I saw both of them do that, is that I watched the village expand through this love story, right? So, like, when Keisha came over, they weren't just sitting on the couch watching TV or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was like, she's come to see Justin, but she was incorporated into the family. And I remember that happened in my family with my sister's high school boyfriend. I mean, we just loved him so much. And like, that's like, you know, what it was. Like, before I went to college, he sat me down and had like this whole talk with me about like, you know, he taught me some things about what I need to know. I don't want to put it on the podcast. But he was like, listen, you need to know this, you need to know that, right? And I love like literally watching that village expand, or like Justin taking Keisha to get her hair braided, and her cousins talking to him. And I just wonder, like, I don't know if that still happens. It certainly didn't happen with our two older children. When they were dating, there wasn't an expansion of village through their relationships. And so, I don't know, have you all experienced that?
I think that's happened. I think we invite that.
Yeah.
Like my kids' partners, we are open to, like, we invite that. And it's not always reciprocated. In fact, it hasn't flown the other way. But that's how I grew up. I think that's a good point, Crystal. Like, that's what we were like with friends. So it kind of made sense that that's what we were like with
So when you were dating growing up, your boyfriend was like, he was incorporated into the family, like y'all were playing.
Like my mom and him knew him, and my sister met him and knew him, and when I would go to his family stuff, and that was the closest. My high school boyfriend was the closest I had to that. But I think this is even in Shelley insisting that Dawn insisting that Shelley be informed.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's also an example of what you're talking about in an expansion of that village.
Yeah.
I love that. That she took the other mother's perspective. Like, I would never want everybody to know this about my daughter and not me. And a lot of us would feel that way, but not feel empowered to go tap, tap, tap on that other mom's shoulder.
We would say
and tell her.
People say that's not our business.
That's not our business. But she felt it was hers, and I appreciated that.
Which is an interesting thing to me, right? Because, okay, so that let's go with like, that's not our business, right? But I think we have yet to find how to have community and trust and release being territorial. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so people often say, if I did such and such and they saw me, they was going to go back and tell my mama, what I did, right?
Yeah.
Right.
When did that change?
When did that shift? And how do we hold like the evolution of or looking back on parenting styles from a particular generation and saying, okay, that doesn't serve us, but this does, without throwing out the whole generation.
The whole thing,
Like whenever I hear talk of downing any generation, it really does something to me. It really bothers me. Like when I hear people say, oh, I can't stand boomers and boomers this and boomers that. Well, I was raised by a boomer. Or even when I hear things about millennials from Gen Z, I just feel like that causes more of we're not learning. We're not learning, and we're not learning, and we're not, we're destroying community as we're saying that we want it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel the person who understood that the best was the dad.
Say more.
He was more tapped in with the generational pieces. He didn't see them as wrong for being teenagers or immediately wrong for how they felt, or immediately, like, he was the least judgmental he was the most realistic about their experiences and like what they actually needed to go through at that phase of life and how they needed to figure it out. Like he was the most realistic about it, and not like this idealistic, hopeful, coming from these places of like fear. He was the most grounded, I think, in those realities. You know what I mean? I think he actually created a spaciousness where he wasn't necessarily saying he was for or against the relationship with Keisha. It was just like, this is their experience, though, and they can handle it. Just because they're a different generation doesn't mean they can.
Yeah, I think that was evidenced a few times, too. So, like, when Justin was like, I need to go to her now. She told her mom, and her mom just left her. I need to go to her now. And Dawn was like, the fuck? It's dark. It's late. Police. Sit down.
Fear.
And he was like, Dawn, hush. Hush. He needs to go be a man.
Let me say, I appreciate that he didn't say Dawn, hush. I just want to put that out there, that he didn't say Dawn, hush.
That was my word. That was my word.
But I appreciated how he did it. He said, Dawn. He wasn't like Dawn. I just appreciated his.
He was. He knows his wife.
Well, also Justin. That's when Justin was like, "What happened to We Are Village?"
Right. We're supposed to be your village.
Can we pause?
Justin was the king of like bringing it back.
Can we just pause right here? Because I have one of those. I have a child.
Me too.
That is a mirror.
Yeah.
Right? I have a child that's a reflection, and I have a child that's a mirror. A reflection is, there's so much like me. Look at so much like, I get that, I get that. And I have a child who's like, this is who you said you was. This is who you said, this is what you said you stood for. And he's a Leo. Just want to put that out there.
There we go.
But close up on the Keisha. Close up on the Keisha.
Close up at the end.
She proud.
Is yours a Leo too, Keisha? The one that does that?
No.
Yeah, but I have, and let me tell you, when they do it,
oh yes,
when they
it
do
is
it,
a Leo. I was about to say it is your Leo, Nikisha.
Yes, it is.
When they
why did Nikisha do this? She was like, 1, 2, 3.
Because I got an end of August, I got a July. I think remember who's where, and then run up. Yeah, girl, it's hard.
She had to pull out the fingers and start counting.
Yeah. So when they do it, I had a coach tell me, you talk a lot about your daughter. You talk about your daughter, and your daughter is your soul mate. I can't deny that. But that one, that's your soul teacher. And I'm saying, I healed. My daughter helped me heal a lot of things. She helped me heal. That one helps me grow. And it's uncomfortable. It's like, and I had to think, like, I'm going through something right now with this one. And I have no idea if I'm making the right decision. I'm like, I could be completely fucking this whole shit up. I have no idea if I'm making the right decision on this.
Did you have a lot of cringe moments with Dawn because of that? Like, as you watched it? Like, how were you watching Dawn?
Let me tell you, it was a hard watch. It was a hard, I said, I see it. It was a hard watch. Again, our fear is about two different things. Now, I don't do the thing that she did with the beats. I don't do that. You know, if my kid tell me they want to do something, they to the moon.
Especially something creative.
I'm to the moon. I'm like,
but would you have told Justin that you saw that girl and that she was on the island? See? If it wasn't for the dad, they never would have rekindled.
Let me just clear this up. I'm rooting for Keisha. I was rooting for Keisha. I want Keisha to win. And if Keisha was my daughter, I would want her to win. Black Keisha. I want Black Keisha to win.
Until she broke your baby's heart.
That's the second time
she broke. When I saw that baby, let me tell you something. I don't have no boys. But when I saw that baby in the back of that car trying to go to school and he could barely eat and he was like, Mom, please, Mom, please, Mom, please. I was like, oh my God, let him out.
And so
don't make him go to school.
That was a moment. See, that was I didn't think Dawn.
That was so.
I didn't think Dawn was a completely unreasonable person. I didn't think Dawn was completely tapped out. You know what I'm saying? She had a lot of compassion.
Wait, I don't know. Do I think Dawn had a lot of compassion?
Maybe not compassion.
I need a moment with it.
Maybe not compassion.
I think
will
sometimes
say
she's had to go really far for Dawn to have a feeling, an emotional.
Well, I wouldn't even say that because at the park, when they were at the park, that was like she was like,
but that was far. Like she had to be there and witness and see it happening to him. But if he was like just expressing it, she couldn't take it in. Like his pain had to be very visceral for her to respond to it. When he was trying to express it, she wasn't present to it.
I will say his, and this is not right, but his pain had to trump her fear.
Yeah.
His pain had to be
visceral.
It had to really trump her fears. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I was rooting for Keisha. I wanted Black Keisha to win. I just want to say, no, I would not have told it. I would have known that I was wrong. And I probably would not even have confessed to Q Baby because Q Baby would have been like, you got to tell him that she's here.
It made the brother lie. Got between the brothers.
I would have tried to pay my little one off. For sure.
So I would have said some things to Keisha in that arcade. I would have said something. I wouldn't just walk.
You would have said something to Keisha?
Okay, Chris, what would you have said to Keisha to her? No, I need to know. Sorry,
well, she already asked her, like, what are you doing here? Did your family vacation here? She know good and goddamn well.
That was also
they don't
salty.
Vacation there.
That was salty.
You know, and then had nerve to later say, it's the black friend in the white girl's suitcase, I guess. So
she did say that.
Petty, okay? But I would have been like, so what are you here for? Are you looking? You look real excited. Were you looking for someone else?
See, then
what would you want to see Justin?
Then you know too much. Then you know too much. You know too much.
What do you want to see Justin for?
Know.
Okay, I guess I'm the only one that would have been like, Keisha's here.
No,
I mean, as soon as I saw her, I would have been like,
he home
Keisha's
depressed over Keisha.
I know.
Let me ask you something.
I would text my husband that, though.
What do you want me to do?
Together,
What's
we might have made a
plan? Keisha's here.
Okay,
what is the game plan?
Let me ask you something.
Okay, I see that. Okay, I can see that.
If the roles were reversed, if a boy would have come to Martha's Vineyard to see your daughter, would you have texted
I would have been
daughter?
like, I would have texted her and I would have been like, what's the game plan? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to move forward? How do you want me to handle this? Do you want me to handle this? I would have texted her. We would have had a game plan.
I don't give
We would have had a game plan. I would have been like, what are we doing?
Daughter, son, I ain't telling neither one.
If I see any of my kids exes, I'm about to be like,
if they look bad, I'll tell them. I'll be like, they look awful.
If they see mine, I'm like, take a picture and send it to your mom.
If they look bad, and Keisha was looking cute. I would be like, he can't resist this. I'm not going to tell him that she here.
Well, guess what? Guess what the problem is with situations like this?
Oh, it would have definitely backfired on me. It would have definitely 1,000%.
Love finds a way. Love finds a way.
And the Keisha found her way to the barn, girl.
1,000%. It would have come to
the barn, the ocean, the Jeep, everywhere, honey.
1,000%.
The Jeep.
1,000%. 1,000%. It would have backfired on me. I have no doubts. It would have completely because. But Dawn, for me, it was a hard watch.
Yeah.
You know, for that reason. It was tough to see yourself.
You can watch her making the mistake.
Not only did I watch her make it, but also understanding and knowing that it's not the right decision, but also, well, I don't know, because with the college stuff, I would have been different, but and I would have. I feel like Dawn had to have some hard conversations with him about life.
She did.
And, you know,
let me ask this. Do we feel like, let's be honest with ourselves, do we feel like Dawn's conversations with him moved needles? Do we feel like they were the most effective conversation? Dawn pushed him. He did things sometimes out of spite for Dawn. I think she was willing to risk it. She was willing to risk that to get him to act, to do things. But I think that, like, when I think about Dawn, and I'm open to, I want us to figure this out, like, she felt like she had to be a necessary devil's advocate, like a necessary adversary almost in their dynamic in order to get him to do what she felt he needed to do. She was willing to, like, kind of play the bad guy. And I guess in that way, his response to her was still for her moving the needle forward. It was worth it. She's an ends justify the means type of person, right? She's an ends justify the means. And so, yes, that's one way to go about it.
The question that Dawn left me with is, what do you do when your child shows up as who you want them to be, but it doesn't look like what you thought it would look like? Because all of the focus that Dawn always wanted him to have, the focus, the attention to detail, the going hard, all of that showed up in his relationship with Keisha. Everything Dawn wanted him to be, and later on in music. But it just didn't look like the dream that she had. And I'll tell you how this resonated with me, because I'm someone who prays for my children's protection more than I pray for them to find love. And I realized that watching this. I was like, wow, I pray about their protection. I pray about their safety. I pray that their dreams come true. But I don't pray for them to find love or experience love. And so much of the growth that they may need in order to show up in this way that I'm trying to nurture them to show up in comes through that kind of experience. Because a lot of the things that, and it hit me in the end when Dawn told Justin, you say you love her. Well, sometimes love has to do the hard thing, right? And then Keisha in the car, when they break up, she says, you better make our breakup worth it. And you have to do the hard thing, right? That was just something that I realized when it came to Dawn, is like, well, he's showing up as a person you want him to show up as, just not in the spaces that you want him.
And that's Dawn's growth edge.
Yes.
Dawn's growth edge is that you had a very specific plan, a very specific outcome you wanted, and you're pointing out the like the deeper level to that one is like a child who knows themselves, a child who is self-motivated, who can self-initiate. But she was looking at very specific goals.
She was.
As evidence of that.
And
as the evidence of those
things. And let me tell you, as a mom to daughters, I don't look at it that way. And I have to be completely honest.
As a mom to son. Yeah, but you do with your
boys.
Because
I don't want to raise fuckboys, and I don't want to raise boys that have to be managed. One of the things that I loved about Wood Harris's character in this series, Dawn is not managing him. She doesn't have to manage him. That was one of my irritations with Blackish, is I felt like Bo had to manage Dre so much.
She did.
You know what I'm saying? I will admit, I am willing. I do allow my daughter to experience more and make more mistakes.
Yeah.
You know? But I do have this thing in me where I'm like, that's touching on fuckboy behavior.
And because what we know, because of how our society is structured, is whatever they don't do, a woman will pay the price for that. Some way, somehow. She will carry that. And it's real. That's real. Listen, I'm grateful for your parenting. That's all I got to say. I'm grateful for your parenting. I wish some other people had thought this way.
We'll see how it turns out, Thea. Just hold up.
We'll see how it turns out. But it's a good point about Dawn. And hopefully it's a dad's character who will help her to see that she got what she wanted. You want the boy to be a man, we got to let the boy be a man. You want the boy to do this. And so I think it'll be, she has the right partner to help her come to that realization.
Keisha? What are you thinking?
I don't know, man. First, I was really trying to figure out where that line was that I was referencing earlier. It was Dawn. She told him, don't make Keisha your goal in life. You have to have your own aspirations and dreams.
Yeah.
I can't find where that was, but she had some moments where she said the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did. In a shit sandwich.
Ma'am. Sometimes motherhood is.
Sometimes that's where you got to pluck it out sandwich.
From. Okay, you got to find the moments, okay?
I will say, I think that Wood Harris had dreams too, but he just didn't articulate them that way, because at Christmas, when he's like, I got my dream, you're taking us to college, right? And that was a really interesting time for me too, because I'm like, okay, again, as a parent, you think you're speaking life into your child. You're thinking you're speaking hope and legacy into your child. And
this boy's getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the...
It's like you don't know that you're even doing that.
Yeah. It's so fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
Just pour out a little liquor to the parents.
I'm telling you. Can I throw this in there? I understand why they did it, but did we even need Keisha's dad in the series at all?
Oh, can we talk about him? Oh, that nigga was triggering as fuck.
So Crystal, come
back.
Raise
your hand if you were triggered by Keisha's daddy.
Back.
Raise your hand if you were triggered by Keisha's daddy. Raise your hand
I would have been fine thinking he was just...
If you was raised by that nigga, Jesus Christ.
Why are you here,
I see it now.
Why are you here?
Why is you here? What is you doing? Like,
we would have been fine with Uncle George. We never had
100%.
Then he was just chilling up in her mama house, like he stayed there at one point. I was like, what is happening?
That is what we try not to raise. That is what we try not to raise
Maybe that's why he was there, to show the contrast.
Maybe it was.
That's why.
Someone had a different perspective on this on Threads. They had a different perspective. Let me see if I can find it. I mean,
if we could name the award for the most triggering nigga in the series goes to Keisha's dad.
Keisha's dad.
And I already know his sign.
What's his sign, Thea?
He's a Gemini.
I knew you were
I'm going to put it out
that.
here. He's a Gemini.
Okay, here it is.
And come to find out he's just traveling, playing ball. That's where you at. If you don't.
He's a Gemini.
Okay, and I want to give.
When Keisha mama needed all that help, that's where you.
I want to give proper credit.
Now.
And then you showed up here fucking up the barbecue. It's too much.
Her name is Mia J. I just want to give proper credit. Her name is Mia J.
Hey, Mia J. Girl.
On Threads, she's XO, love Mia J, XO Mia J. She says, unpopular opinion about Forever. Keisha's dad wasn't doing too much when talking to Justin. He was making sure he had confidence to protect his daughter. He was giving him advice from what he's been through. Justin needed to come out of his comfort zone. Can we stop coddling boys?
Again, Uncle George could have served in that role. He could have done that. We didn't need fuck daddy to come on.
Because Wood wasn't a coddler. His dad wasn't a coddler.
At all.
His dad had a good... You don't have to be fucked up to be teaching lessons. I reject that. First of all, you were trying to be the center of motherfucking attention. You were trying to play daddy in front of all these people, and all of them thought you were a joke. In fact, your daddy... Big George had to step in and come to you and get you in order. No, that is not what that... Because Wood was an example of healthy masculine guiding healthy masculine. Like, trying to guide masculine. This guy was an asshole.
That part.
And Big George had to come in and shut him down. And be like, where was your plan? You still ain't got no plan. Your daughter in here, this woman trying to find spikes. And your ass is out here trying to chase a ball that ain't chasing you, nigga. How about that? You were just bullying. He was just bullying. That's all he was doing. No.
That was one scene I didn't understand why it was there.
I think she had to show that Keisha had a dad who wasn't just some fuck nigga with 12 kids and 12 baby mama. You know, she had to like break that stereotype. He's a guy pursuing his dreams who's complicated and layered and all that, but he also could have just not. He could have passed away or something.
But you know what? You know why he's in there? Because he's the most triggering nigga in the series. And we all know him.
Yes.
We didn't need to see him again.
Listen, I do know why he was in the series. I just didn't understand
why was he in the series.
Well, I think
to break the stereotype, right?
No, I don't think that. I think that he made some good points about make sure you're not his distraction, because this is what men do with distractions. I mean, he was right about that. So
she didn't take that lesson.
Could George have told that story?
She did take that lesson because he told.
Yeah, she brought it up to him in the pool. But could George have said that? I'm trying to think, does this man in particular had to be there?
Let me say this. The thing that I saw about that scene, about Keisha's relationship with her dad, is that Keisha had made peace with who her dad was.
Yeah, she did. That's true.
Keisha made peace with who Christian was. She was very peace-giving.
Jesus, she was very peaceful. That's not very Scorpio of her.
Everybody else... And maybe she's
not very Scorpio of her. Maybe we need to know her rising and her moon.
Maybe she's later. Maybe she's a late Scorpio.
Clearly it's not.
Maybe she's a late Scorpio.
She might be on it. She might be
early. Maybe she's a Libra, more Libra-like.
Yeah, I was about to say, she might be a little cuspy.
I think the reason he was in the series is because, you know, just because he wasn't present doesn't mean that he wasn't a parent she could learn from. You know, like, my dad was a horrible husband. He was a terrible husband. And he was a horrible father after my parents got a divorce. And he was an authoritarian father when they were married. But I did learn from him. There were things that I learned from him. And so
that's a good point.
Could somebody else have taught her? But him saying it made it even more real, because when he's talking to Keisha about Justin, he's talking about himself.
He's talking about himself. It's true.
George saying it makes it seem like, oh, my grandfather's just
and you
worried.
Can see the loop.
Yeah.
You can see the cycle that she was about to repeat.
Yeah, and George saying it would have made it like...
He just still was a dick. I don't know what to tell you. The nigga was awful.
But if George would have said those same things to Keisha, it comes off as...
It wouldn't have been the same. Yeah.
He's just worried. But the person who's actually acting like this, and the person who said, this is what I did to your mom...
And still acting like an asshole.
And it's still acting like that. So I can see why he was in the series.
Yes. Yeah.
That
You make a good point.
That scene. Whew. I had to pause. I was like, how long does this scene go on? Because it went on for a long time.
He just shouldn't change the mood up in here. You know, it's like when Idris came onto The Office. When Idris joined The Office, it would just change the mood. It just changed everything. Shit stopped being funny.
That's a good point.
It just changed the mood. It's like when Idris came to The Office, he didn't change the vibe. That's all we got to say about him.
Okay, we got to go. Let's go back to the mamas. Let's go back to the beautiful love story that we have all fallen in love with.
Let's talk about the ending. I want to talk about the ending. I have a quote here from Mara Brock Akil. She says, I'm so happy that Justin and Keisha were able to end their relationship in love, Akil said. I actually think they are role models for anybody in love and needing to separate, that you can choose yourself and still remain loving towards somebody that you were once in love with, and they may still be in love with you. This is when I called one of our faves, Akilah S. Richards, who does work around grief, because that ending, when they walked away from each other, right? Because I was like, ooh, they're going to go and they're going to get together. But they didn't. They walked away from each other. I said, oh, they let it die. They let it die. And I was so proud of them for that. He showed up in that moment when he broke up with Keisha before that, how Dawn wanted him to show up. Remember, she wanted him to let basketball go, and he wouldn't. You know?
That's interesting.
And so, but in this relationship, he got that lesson, like, I have to let this go because it's taking up too much space for me to figure some other things out that I need to figure out, right? That was a lesson she was trying to give him when she asked him to quit the basketball team, and he was like, no. So we didn't talk about that. Like, well, we could circle back around to, what do you do when you realize you made a mistake in parenting and it's impacting your child's life? Okay, but we can talk about that in a minute. But I thought about, like, how do I teach my children to let go, to let things die? Like, I saw that in my mom because my mom left my father. So I get that, right? And so I called Akilah and I was talking and I left her a voice note about it. And one of the things that she said is she's very intentional about talking to her children about relationships ending and knowing when it's time for a relationship to end, right? Because she grew up seeing adults who would not let the relationship die. And it had a profound impact on her childhood experience up into her, adulthood. And I think we push this thing of, like, the series is called Forever.
Forever,
right?
yeah, that's what it is.
And so I think, we push this love narrative that you meet the love of your life, it lasts forever, and all these things. Yeah. And even the love story with me and Q Baby, he's like, I met her when she was 15 and I was 17 and I knew right away. And I think that our children really kind of hold on to that and make that an expectation, And so I don't know if I intentionally teach my children how to let things die, how to let things go when it comes to relationships.
But I think it's because we've had divorce, we've had parents disappear. We had to, by virtue of circumstance, but also.
But I don't think I teach that, Thea. I don't.
Yeah.
I think I do. Maybe in everything except for relationship. Like,
and I was going to say maybe except exactly.
Because as a creative, we'd be like, girl, you walk out on that job and go to that audition. Girl, let that job go.
Yeah, it's very different. That's different.
That's real.
I think. I got divorced when my kids were like 7 and 8, somewhere around there. And so the conversation about, and even still as an adult who is unlearning and relearning love, there's the understanding that there's an impermanence to it one way or another. And that the purpose of the relationships is not forever. The purpose of the relationship is really about something else. Like, it's usually like something for you to grow or them to grow or both of you to grow or having an experience or co-creating something. And often, if you're mindful, as you're doing that, you can renegotiate the terms so that you can extend time together, right? Like we've come together and we've grown this much and maybe we're at a stalemate it's a great time to think about letting that version of us die and see what new version we come up with together. So even in relationships, there's deaths that need to be acknowledged. If you want it to be like forever, right? You would have to acknowledge the death cycle that's happening in the relationship, even one that's successful in going forward. Like who you and Q Baby are today are not who you were when you got married, who weren't who you were at the 10-year mark. And each time there's like there's conversations that need to be had, and some people can have those conversations and come to the conclusion they keep going, and some people do not have those conversations at all, and then it's like 30 years later and they realize, what the fuck are we doing? There's so many versions of this that, like, I think I had to have realistic expectations with my kids that relationships really have to be centered around how you feel, and are you growing?
Yeah.
Are you well? And if not, it's okay to say that relationship was good for me at that point, and it may not be anymore. And to consider, that letting it go could be the next healthy option. It's really fucking hard. I mean, we're talking about this with kids, but I'm saying as an adult, that's hard for me. Having adult heartbreak, having adult relationships not work out. The easy thing is to like shut down, because letting something die is different than like shutting down and almost like smothering it or killing it, right? Like letting something die is understanding. What they did at the end is like,
it's beautiful.
Us ending the relationship does not end the love. Like, they actually still love each other. We were very clear about that at the end. They absolutely love each other. It's so much so that they knew when and how they needed to let go. It's actually more evidence of love, I think, at times, is that knowing how to let go.
That was one of the most uncomfortable parts for me to watch. A number of reasons. One was, even though I think they both heard it from their parents at different points, at different people in their lives at different points, it didn't in no way felt real to me or realistic to me that two teenagers would be able to so amenably let something like this go. Based on my lived experience, I could not have imagined. I couldn't imagine. But my own personal experience, just being so deep in love and thinking that it's going to be forever and doing all the things to make it forever and saying, we'll stay in touch, we'll stay together even across the miles, and I'll come see you. That seemed like the natural order of things for them to assume that they could keep it going and then it would peter out. I think that's more common than for teens to be mature enough to be like, you know what? Let's you do you and me do me, and we'll come back together again. That just seemed like, what?
I don't know. I don't know if I felt, well, that happened to me as a teenager.
Were you in agreement with that decision as a teenager, or did it happen to you? You know what I mean?
I wasn't in agreement, but I knew it was the right thing.
Okay.
I didn't.
So you were able,
but
okay.
You're saying like the way they were both in agreement was a little too easy.
Too easy. They were so in love.
I think the day that they broke up, I think, was very hard.
That was more like, okay, that's how I would see that.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
But it was months later. The ending was 2 months later.
It was. So
Yeah,
I wasn't convinced. The day that Justin made that decision, though, I wasn't convinced that who we had come to know Justin to be, that he would make that decision. That didn't fit to me.
I could see Justin making that decision because Justin was very emotional, and Justin was always in touch with how he felt.
Yeah,
I think so. But when that happened to me, that's happened to me twice, actually. And that's actually how the conversation is. It's not hot. It's not a hot, heated conversation. It's very.
They all been hot for me, child. They all been.
Well, I'm saying.
I would say I think it depends on how it's introduced.
Yeah, I think
how it's held.
The first time it happened to me, I didn't want to make it a fight because I felt like that would push him further away. But the conversation, it's not. He didn't. The way he introduced it was very loving. So it's I don't know, when both times I've been through it, it's not a hot conversation. It is like that. It's very hard. It's very painful. The second time I went through it, I was in my 20s, and I remember, God, we were both crying, and I said to him, I feel like I'm trying to hold on to you, and I can't and I can't. And he said, let me go. And I mean, they're very painful and tearful conversations, but neither one of them were, and I broke it up with people where it's like red hot. Like, nigga, like you, I don't want to ever see you again. Like it's like that. But those conversations, when you're trying to do what you know is best, my experience has been that it's like painful like that. And there's a lot of tears, there's a lot of agony, but it's not.
I think if you're clear about where it's coming from, it can be that way.
It was always very clear.
I think I've had experiences where that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
And it was very painful because it wasn't clear.
Yeah.
And I also agree with Keisha that, like, I saw more of Keisha's process of getting to that understanding than Justin's.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I saw that more for her, so I could understand her. Like, when he said, tell me I'm wrong, and she couldn't, I understood why Keisha couldn't. She had the conversation with her dad. She had felt that weirdness about him, and talking about he wanted to go to Howard all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It was a little unexpected for that conversation to come from him. I actually thought it was going to come from her.
From her.
So when it did come from him, that was like, oh, I didn't know that's how this was gonna. Because he seemed the most dependent. He seemed more dependent on her. So I didn't expect that conversation to come from the person who was the most, which is also interesting writing, right? Like, I think that also speaks to love. Like, I don't want I don't want that to be what our relationship is. You know what I mean?
I think if it would have come from Keisha, it would have been a red hot conversation because she's not as dependent. And I think that was his biggest fear, is losing her. I think that was his biggest fear. But I just think that the tone would have been completely different if it would have come from Keisha.
So I witnessed that again through the lens of who I am and my lived experiences for the last many years, many years. However, this is what I love so much about being in relationship with you two, is listening to the conversation we all just had and you all sharing it from your experiences, but also how you, Crystal talked about maybe how you might see your children go through it. This gives me a whole new perspective I wouldn't have even had without hearing you two discuss it, and that my children are very, very comfortable with impermanence. Very comfortable with that. Their whole lives, they've been moving. They know a friend. They don't know a friend. They know a place. They don't know a place. They love this series. It gets canceled. This is just a part of their life. They're sad for a moment and then they recover. All those things. And so I don't know that they would have had this. I would have been devastated. I would have been Justin 3 months later, still in the Martha's Vineyard bedroom with the lights off, crying somewhere if somebody broke up with me at that age. I don't foresee that happening with my children because of how used to impermanence they are. And that may be
I think you're right. I think our oldest two children, I think it's something different for them. But I think our youngest two, they've moved a lot because of Q-Baby's job. So I think you're right on that piece. I never thought about that. I think, I don't know. I have to talk to them and see how they see, because we've moved way more than I expected. I mean, the oldest two, we lived in the same house the whole time they lived with us. They went to one school. So like, they have much less of that. And I also think they may crave the stability a little bit more because, their parents weren't together. And so they like the feeling of, that other feeling. Whereas these two, their parents are together and they've moved and all these other things have happened. So I don't know. I'm really curious to ask my kids about that now. But I think what you said is true, Thea. Like, it has to, if you're clear about where it's coming from. And I think in both conversations, I didn't feel it was coming from I think what they were saying was true.
Well, he handled it. He handled it with love.
Yeah.
I think he held it with love. I think some people don't have the maturity to handle it with love. And what we didn't get in his processing to get to that point, we didn't get that, but we did see him mature.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I think he was he seemed like he wanted to have the conversation from a place of love. And he didn't want that to be a question. Like, is this about love?
Yeah.
It's about me loving you. He was very clear. And I think some people, when they feel that, they can't have that. They don't have it from that place. They have it from a place of, they don't know how to convey it.
Yeah.
They're still very conflicted about hurting the other person.
Yeah.
And it can get really messy and go really bad really, really fast.
Yeah.
I've experienced that too. And that's actually been painful to hear it when the person wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Because if they had been clear and loving, I could have received it a completely different way and walked away from it a completely different way. But because of how they held it, it left me with so many questions. And so much hurt.
The other thing that I liked is that he was the one, because so often Black women are expected to.
Oh, now if anything wasn't real, that men are not that brave. Typically, I'm just gonna say it.
I like that, because I think Keisha was like, I want to be able to say yes, come to Howard, but the reality is I want to have this experience, and so sometimes I don't get caught up in whether if I'm watching a show or if I'm watching a movie, whether something is realistic, because I'm like, what is it trying to show us? And from the beginning, she said something, let me see if I have it here, about...
To show us it's possible.
It's possible.
Or give us an example of something going well,
And I love that she framed it that she sees them as role models. So they're modeling what could be, not necessarily what would happen, what could be, how it could be.
I'm curious about a lot of Black boys' emotions, thoughts, and feelings. I thought that was worthy of making Justin the Catherine in this book, so that we might make space for the awkwardness of growing up, the vulnerability of growing up, the swag, having one dream and finding another, and do you even have the permission to change your mind? Basically, all of those ideas that get stuck in the notion that you got to be one way to be a Black man, to be hard or to be strong. Michael Cooper's smile that he gives to Justin, I notice that sometimes our young men don't even want to smile in their pictures. I would love to change or give more options for what Black masculinity can be in an image that can be reflected back. I want to give men and young men all over the world a chance to be more vulnerable and honest about their desire for love and wanting someone to love them back, and how precious that is to them, just as much as we've over-indexed how precious it is to girls. It's also very desirable for boys. But where can they say that? Maybe now Justin can help shake that up a little bit. So
Justin did that.
Yeah.
That clarifies everything. She switched the genders. He actually had the role that Catherine had in the book. That's really amazing to me.
Yeah.
Justin
now we can
did
see
that.
it through that lens. It's like, whoa, I love that she made that choice then. Okay.
And so, and again, it releases the burden of the woman or the girl to, I'm supposed to help uplift the Black man. And also...
Well, let's be real too, because it's usually in these shows.
Yeah.
The guy is fucking up.
Yeah.
The girl has to keep chasing him or keep forgiving him or keep letting him back in. And people are losing their mind because it's not that way this time.
And the girl is usually the one trying to hold on to forever, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it also taught it to me, it's like, he knew, and he said, I don't want to drag you down.
Yeah.
Where's a lot of niggas who be like,
well, I was about to say,
let's live on the streets together.
Maybe we should end the show right there. Maybe we should just end the show right there, because the way niggas is comfortable dragging a bitch down. The way niggas is comfortable. And expect and entitled to.
And the way a woman is dragged, a Black woman is dragged if she leaves.
If she refuses to be dragged down.
Taraji P. Henson said, I'm not dealing with I'm not dealing with anybody's unhealed son. It's a new day. That's why I wore white to this Met Gala. It's a new day.
That's real.
So
I love her for that. Woo!
We did
that. That's that on that.
Forever. We could talk for hours. Hours and hours more on this. So good. Ooh.
I don't have my Black mama.
Okay. Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Mara, for that. All right. It's time for our final segment, which we know you love. It's Black Mama Say, where we put our own stank on something Black mamas have been saying forever. Today's Black Mama Say is, let me hush, though. Crystal, you want to go first?
No, Thea's going to go first.
Thea, let's get it.
Okay, well, some people call themselves Beyonce fans. Call themselves
no pun intended.
Even
no pun intended.
No pun intended. Call themselves Beyonce fans. But the way you know a true beehiver versus a Beyonce fan is a beehiver would never try to show up to the Queen's show an hour before and expect to get all the extra like little perks and benefits and not wait in lines. Like a real beehiver is there a minimum of 3 to 4 hours before the show, minimum, standing in line, getting all the perks. But let me hush though. What do I know? I don't have any merch. I didn't get all the swag. I did show up 3 to 4 hours early, and I have zero complaints. For all the people on TikTok, let me hush though. Maybe next time you'll behave accordingly.
I love it. I love your petty. The petty in me loves the petty in
There's
you.
a difference.
So my let me hush though is that we say we love Black women. We say we want to listen to we say we should listen to Black women, and we say protect Black women until a Black man is on trial. Until a Black woman files a restraining order against a Black man. But let me hush though.
Wow.
We see no benefit to a Black woman who accuses a Black man of anything. And yet, there are Black women who do it for their safety, for their healing, and they are dragged through the mud
safety.
For their children's safety. And yet, we still say they trying to take a Black man down. But let me hush though. Ain't read one book on domestic violence. Ain't read one book on the psychological effects of abuse. Don't know that Black women are 50% less likely to say anything about their abuse and more likely to get killed, but got so much to say. They say 92% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. Are 92% of Black women standing with victims of violence? But let me hush though.
We're just gonna end this thing heavy. That's what we're gonna do. Okay.
You should have went last, Thea.
I should have went last.
You should have went last. Thea should have went last.
She kept it cute. She was just patting.
What is that?
This is a cell phone.
Crystal, I'm gonna let you finish this one for you. I'm gonna tee it up. I'm gonna let you finish it. Okay. So, Florida A&M has selected their latest president. Their board of trustees. Let me not say the university. The board of trustees has elected their 13th president. And it will be Marva Johnson, who is a MAGA conservative. Comes from no background. No background.
You know what? When I heard Marva, I got one of them in my family.
And is vice president at Charter Communications. That's her. That's the skill set she brings. And this wouldn't have happened, Crystal,
had y'all voted for Andrew Gillum in 2018, but let me hush though.
We're gonna hush though. Had we got it right back then.
Elections have consequences. We don't like to feel them. But let me hush though.
I got to find a new HBCU for my girls to go to now. Let me.
Y'all think fat meat ain't greasy. But let me hush though. Woo! There we go. Let's lift it up. Let's lift it up. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up.
When I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say, hey, that I've been blessed. I got a testimony.
What are we going to do with her, y'all? What are we going to do with her?
It was too much. I was drowning, bitch. I was drowning. It was too much.
I'm trying again. Follow us on Instagram at Dem Black Mamas Podcast. And if you don't want to miss a minute of the magic, sign up for our newsletter, The Mothership, which Crystal has been doing an amazing job releasing.
You got on time.
Yes, boo. Where you can also hear about collection plate causes and spotlighting causes and initiatives that resonate within our community. Don't miss a minute of the magic.
And don't forget to check out our website at www.demblackmamas.com. Dem Black Mamas is a conversation, so our inbox is always open. If you have thoughts about the show, show us some love and ask us some questions at magic@demblackmamas.com.
And be sure to listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, including right here on YouTube.
Yeah.
And don't just subscribe, like, and if you heard something that resonates with you, put it in quotations and drop it in the comments. And in closing, maintain,
expect
abundance.
I just needed it to be a little bit tighter.
You know what? After you're lucky, I popped back up after that Black Mama says.
That's all we got.
You're lucky. I made it through.
That's it.
That's all we got. We ain't got no more.
The master.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Cristo.